All right, all right, all right. Hello, everyone. Hello, world. I am not sure if you can hear me or see me live. We are trying it out again to see if it is working on this super amazing, fantastic Friday where we have a special guest for the Supernatural Weight Release group. We are going live on several pages, whether it is inside the group for Supernatural Weight Release on our personal pages. And I'm going to see if I can get this linked out to a couple of other people. So please, if you will, if you can go ahead and send this out, we want you to just invite everybody. We want everybody to come out. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our Supernatural Weight Release group check-in. This is our group's check-in, and I am excited to be back. We have not done this in years because I have been on a sabbatical, and I want to welcome you all to the group. So I'm going to take a moment to see if you are on my actual page. So I'm going to go to my page right now to make sure that somebody can see me while we are here with our special guest, you all. We got somebody special with us on today. Miss Karen Malone from Rehab Your Life is here. And I'm excited. I'm glad that you can see me on my page. I appreciate that. Thank you, Karen, for giving me some insight on that. And then I'm also going to take it live on and just share it out, if you will. So we're going to go ahead and get started on today. I am Genesis Hall. I am a licensed clinical social worker, but also I am excited to say that I have been leading the Supernatural Weight Release group for a few years in the hopes to inspire, to encourage, and to enlighten lives every single day to do what is important to me, I believe, which is to ignite a fire for the purposes of connecting with other people who want to release weight. What do I mean by releasing weight? Supernatural Weight Release was birthed out of an experience of me releasing 120 pounds, and going through that process of releasing the 120 pounds meant that I needed to release some weights. The Bible speaks about it and it says, lay aside the weight and the sin that so easily besets you. And that is what exactly had to happen. I had to lay aside weights in my mind. I had to lay aside weights in relationships. I had to lay aside weights that just plagued me internally to allow for the supernatural weight release. What does that mean? Even to say supernatural, that means it was not in and of my own strength and my power, not by my power, not by my might, but by the Spirit of the Lord, to be led into a place where I can release weights, to be mindful of what the Holy Spirit is saying in and through me, so that I can know what to do. There was an actual moment in my life where I had to return to a place in the Lord to say, God, what am I doing? Why am I here? What is my purpose? And how do I fulfill this purpose with this weight? Not the natural weight, but things that was holding me back and keeping me from fulfilling my purpose. And so supernatural weight release means I'm going to put some super on this natural. That means that I'm going to work, but I'm not working in and of my own strength, but by the power and the leading of the Holy Spirit to do something beyond what I can do in and of my own strength. This is a group that is actually here for accountability, for sustainability in not only your weight release journey, but your journey in life. We want to see you release weights. We want to see you get to your full potential. And so we have goals that we focus in on. And every single month we come together to talk about what is the will of the Lord for our life. And then also I try to check in as well, at least in a quarterly right now, because I'm sliding in a little slow, y'all. I am pacing myself in this season of my life because I want to make sure that I'm doing things in excellence and that I am not doing it in and of my own strength and power, y'all, because that's what happened in the past and I got burnt out. Okay. So I'm not going to belabor our time any longer. I want to welcome in our community guest in this is our spotlight here. I am bringing to the virtual page here and the virtual stage. If I have my drum on, I'll go. I'm bringing to the virtual stage Miss Karen Malone of Rehab Your Life. Let me talk a little bit about why we are doing a community spotlight. The community spotlight, as a part of the Supernatural Weight Release, is to say that we have some amazing people in our community virtual space, whether they are on the East Coast, the West Coast, the North, or the South. We are bringing them in because they have something to offer and something to give us so that we can enhance our life. We can live our life on purpose, and we don't do it haphazardly. This woman that I'm bringing to the stage has an amazing testimony to speak about the goodness of God and how you can rehab your life. In this month of February, we're talking about the return. We're talking about getting our heart organized and in order, and certain things that we need to do from a physical standpoint as well as the spiritual standpoint. So even from a physical standpoint, sometimes we don't got stuff in order. And this woman of God is going to help us get it together to rehab our life. And so I'm going to tell you, this is an emergency, emergency, emergency. We got to bring her into our life and into our space. So I am adding in my sister. How are you? This is Miss Karen.
Hey, lady. How you
Hello, welcome.
doing?
I am what listen, I know I'm going to take a moment and just clap right
Thank
now.
you, thank you, thank you. I
So
love
thank
that
you.
introduction.
You are so welcome. I want to thank you first and foremost, Karen, for being our first guest coming on to be our community spotlight. I don't even remember. I tried to go back and think about how in the world did we meet. We have only met twice
Ooh,
in person. Uh,
yeah.
and I just felt such an amazing connection. And you are just a woman of wisdom with a wealth of knowledge and so much on the inside of you that has been birthed out in your life that has blessed the body of Christ, that blessed this nation. And I'm just
Oh,
so appreciative that I am connected and got a chance to sit down and have lunch, and or we actually had dinner together, just
yes.
chat with someone so amazing as yourself. So thank you for you being having your own personal testimony on how you had to rehab your life. And I just want you to introduce yourself to the people out there who do not know, like, who is this Karen Malone? Like, what is she talking about with this rehab your life? Why would I need to rehab my life? How does
Well,
that you?
thank you for that introduction. First of all, I wanted, before I get started, how we met was that I was a stalker on your page, ma'am. I was like, who is this fabulous woman? I need to get to know her.
Praise
And
God.
so when I was intending to host my conference back in 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020, I reached out to you, and you were so gracious enough to come from Bloomington into the Peoria area to come to the office space. You remember that?
Oh, yes, I
That's
remember
when we very
the
first
first
met.
time, right?
And so, and since then, we've been able to keep up with each other and love on each other over the years, which, you know, ironically, it's been 4 years
Can you
now.
believe that?
That's crazy. I know. And so when I was last in Peoria, I was like, hey, girl, I'm in town. And we was able to have dinner and just really have a good time in the Lord and just really, you know, love on each other. And so I appreciate you and all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And you know, I just want to be a part of what you're doing with your community. So thank you for allowing me to be the first spotlight community person for this year. Um, so you know, you set up a really good drum roll
I
there. Um, so I am Karen Malone. I am from the Peoria area, raised up in that area, went to Woodruff High School, Warriorette in my
all right,
blue and
warriors.
gold. Yes, Woodruff
Warriors
Warriors.
come out to play.
Yes, yes. And, you know, since I've left the Peoria area, I have been living in the Houston, Texas area. But, you know, the Lord just keeps calling me back home. So I decided that I wanted to share some of the good stuff that I've been doing in Houston back home in Peoria. So that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. But you also mentioned kind of my testimony in
Yes,
general.
please.
So, you know, God has just been so good. Um, it's been a very long journey that I've been on. Um, I am a 4-time cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with colorectal cancer back in 2014, 2015. It's been so long. It's, 2014, 2015. And I've since had, surgery, the radiation, the chemotherapy, all of those things. But it just keeps coming back. And so this is the fourth metastases. But at the same time, I don't look like what I've been through. The Lord has continued to just allow me to have the energy to be able to keep doing the work that He has me to do. And so I'm just so excited to. Um, work with the ladies that I work with through Rehab Your Life. We are a nonprofit organization that works with women like myself that have chronic medical conditions. Just like you guys, we set goals, we work together to be able to reach those goals, and we're not letting any of these medical conditions hold us back. And so I'm excited to be able to continue to do the work that I'm doing. And a part of that is coming to the Peoria area twice in 2024. The first time is going to be for our emergency binder workshop. And that is going to be in March. We'll be coming out there into the Peoria area, March the 16th. We're going to be at Simply Fit for You. Angel is a blessing. He is allowing us to be able to use his space. If you have not gone to Simply Fit for You, you need to get down there. They have some awesome, healthy shakes. And so we're going to be utilizing his space is at 841 West Main Street in Peoria. But we're going to be hosting what I call the Emergency Binder Workshop.
Okay.
And, people are kind of like, what's that?
Right, right.
Why do I need this workshop? And like you said in the beginning, you was like, emergency
It's an emergency.
is an emergency.
Yes.
Yeah, it really is an emergency because we're all getting older. I'll be 50 this year. A lot of
Nuh-uh.
my peers, yes, yes,
Listen, there's no come on and all that glory. All of that
be
glory.
50 this year. Yes, ma'am. And like I was calling my Woodruff Warriors, all of us are going to be in our 49 50s this year. And
Wow.
we're starting to have some ailments, in addition to, just dealing with the cancer. But, you have people that have diabetes now. You have people that have multiple sclerosis. You have all kinds of different ailments. And
Mhm.
as a rehabilitation counselor, I've seen how these ailments have just wreaked havoc in people's lives.
Yeah.
And, the one thing about being from Peoria, I'm going to keep it real, Genesis. A lot
Please.
of times people be like, I don't want nobody all in my business.
Right,
And
right,
you don't talk to people
right,
about what's going on.
right.
And you need to talk to people about what's going on because how can I help you if I don't know that you're dealing with something?
You know
How
what?
can I support you? How can I pray for you? And I know
Right.
that's saying you don't want everybody praying for you. So I understand that. I understand that. But, you still need to surround yourself
Mhm.
with a good circle of friends, whether it be girlfriends or even guy friends or a really good mix of those.
Mhm.
You need to develop a team of people that you
That's
can
right.
rely on that will come up to the hospital and visit with you, that will make sure your bills still get paid while you're in the hospital, that
Hold
will make
up.
sure
Wait a
your
second. Wait,
kids.
wait, wait. Pause for a hot second here. We got to go all the way back here. First and foremost, you mentioned something super important, which is we have to have a team. We got to have
Yes.
a village of people who we can trust, who can not only be our support and our help, but pray for us and then
Yes.
pay our bills. You talking about being all up in our business like that.
Now,
When
whether
we,
or not they paying it for you, or
uh-huh,
you give them that password to
exactly.
log on to your page and pay your bills, you have to keep your life running. You
Come
know what I'm
on.
saying?
Your life
You don't
still
want to
has
be in
to
the
go
hospital
on.
and your lights go out and your kids at home. You don't want for those things to happen. You want it to be a sense of normalcy, especially if you have kids. You need to make sure that you have releases of information in place so that way people can talk to other people about your situation, so that people can pick your kids up from school.
Yep. So that
You
question,
just
I
can't
want you all
send
to think of that.
anybody.
Who is your team? Who is your team?
Yeah,
Who are
who
the
is your
people you
team?
can trust? Who's the person that you can say, I need you to go up in my house, go into underneath this pillow, underneath here, and go
You
grab
know,
that cash I got holding over to the side. I need you to get this here bill and pay this bill. Who can you trust that's on your team? And unfortunately, like you were saying, coming from Peoria, I'm from Chicago. One thing that we, even in families, there's this speak no evil,
yeah,
hear no evil, say no evil, see no evil, hear no evil. And yet, this is keeping us silent, and we're suffering in silence. And
suffering
what
in
hearing
silence,
is,
and it's not necessary.
it's not necessary. You get those
You know,
people around you, a team of people who are going to be able to support you and say, hey, I'm going to take your child here, and I will be the one to pick them up if you have to have surgery. If you're going wrecked with pain, I'm going to be the one to say, hey, I'll get the bills out, get those paid for you. I will cook a meal for you. We need to have that kind of team involved. And here's the thing I want to say before I let you continue on. Yes, we are Christians and we believe that the Lord is our healer. And
yeah,
we definitely believe that the supernatural power of God can be at work and at hand to cancel out cancer, diabetes, and everything else. We also have to operate in wisdom. And
yes,
wisdom means that we have to have our life and affairs in order. And if we
yeah.
have to have people in our life that will help us continue to move forward if we need to be into other care. Whether
Those
come on,
people are the hands and feet
come
of
on.
God. You know what I'm saying?
Don't you get me
He
don't get
doesn't
me
just
to
come down
preaching.
himself. He doesn't just come down himself. He uses me and he uses you. He
Yes.
uses me to say a word to you that might confirm something.
Yep.
Yes, you should do this, or yes, you should do that.
Mhm.
Another thing is, when you're establishing your team, you need to make sure, and I don't want to give too much away because I need you to attend the workshop,
That's
but
it.
you need to make sure that they know they're on your team, and
Mm,
that this person can bear the weight of whatever it is that you're asking them to do.
that's good.
So, for instance, my sister, Glenda Lampkin, love her to death.
Hey,
She is
Glenda.
the most squeamish person when it comes to blood. So, if I need a tube changed or a drain changed or something, I'm not going to ask her. She's not the right person for that task. So,
Mhm.
when you're developing your team, make sure that you match the right person to the appropriate task, because not everybody is willing and or able to do that thing that you might ask of them. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Because let me tell you something, Hunty, I don't know if I'm gonna be the one changing diapers on
you
people.
know, you
I may
know,
give
but
you a
let's keep
bath,
it
but I
real.
don't know. You
But
know,
let's keep it real.
hey, be
You
real.
might want to help. And a lot of times people either don't show up at the hospital, they go, "Oh girl, I didn't know what to say, or I didn't know what to do. I feel like I didn't want to tell you my problems because you had a lot going on."
Right.
And you got to be careful with that too, because just because I got things going on, by you not sharing your life with me and us being friends like we normally are, that's alienating me. That's
Mhm.
isolating me. Keep me in the loop. Keep telling me what's going on with you. That's allowing me to escape from my problem.
That's
So
it.
you want to be able to maintain as much normalcy as possible when you're dealing with a chronic medical condition. So identify who is on your team. Usually your team is about a good 5 people, 5 to maybe 7 people.
Mhm.
Like I said, let them know who they are and what the tasks are that you're going to be asking them to do.
Mhm.
Another thing that we're going to talk about in the workshop is literally having your affairs in order. And what does that mean? Is that a will? Is that a living will or advanced directive? What's the difference between the two? What about medical power of attorney? Who should be your medical power of attorney? A lot of times you assume that it's going to be your spouse or, your significant other or your kids. But I have one of my best friends as my medical power of attorney. Again, my sister will probably have me hooked up to a machine in the vegetable state, talking about, no,
Oh,
I'm not
sister.
ready for her to go. And I'm like, no, I'm ready to go, So she's not going to be the right person. And
Mhm.
then one of my oldest daughters, we don't necessarily see eye to eye when it comes to medical stuff. They're not really into taking a lot of medicines. And I
Mhm.
don't knock that. But
Right.
if I need some morphine or if I'm gonna need you to give me them drugs, you know. But she may have me, she wouldn't want me to suffer, but she doesn't
Right.
believe in the same types of medicines and things. So I don't have her as my medical power of attorney. I have one
Mhm.
of my really good girlfriends, and the backup is another good girlfriend. And so you have to really think about who, because that person is going to have to deal with your family in that
Right.
moment when they're saying, do we take her off of life support or do we do this or do we do that? That person has to fully understand your wishes
Right.
and be able to stand up to your family to say, no, this is what Karen would have wanted.
Right.
Another thing, and having that notarized and knowing where that documentation is, because in the last moments people be telling stories when people are passing away. We don't have no medical power of attorney, we ain't got no
Listen,
will, and so somebody's
that's
got to.
what I have to deal with in a counseling setting. Folks whose
Really?
families, oh yes, folks whose families have just gotten out of order because people didn't know where the will was, what was the information, and people are fighting. And so, in their grieving stage, they're feeling
Mhm.
betrayed and feeling unheard, and it's just awful if you don't have your affairs in order. And so, we
Yeah.
want to make sure that you can help even in the grieving process for individuals by
Yes.
knowing who is going to be assigned to your life affairs after you're gone or under the knife. Some people are getting surgery. Who's going to pick you up? All of
Yeah.
those different
Yeah.
things, right? Gosh, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
All of those things.
so I don't want you to give out too much about the
Yeah.
workshop
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just tell us a little bit about like who do you believe should be attending the workshop? Who should be
Well,
there?
definitely my target audience has always been women with chronic medical conditions because
Okay.
you're literally in the thick of it. And a
Hmm.
lot of times, fear keeps you from doing the work that you need to do to be prepared. And the good thing about the emergency binder is that it's it's not necessarily for when you pass. It's for you when you're going into a procedure, you're going into the hospital, you're planning on coming out, but you just still need to make sure that your household runs. So really that was the gist of it, because I was having surgeries. I had a 17-year-old, a 12-year-old, and like an 8-year-old, and I'm in the hospital. We got soccer practice, well, not soccer, but basketball practice. We
Hmm.
had baseball practice. We still, dinner is at 6:30. We needed some groceries to be picked up, and
Hmm.
so it was okay. Mom's in the hospital, but
Hmm.
people still need to go and do what they need to do. Don't
Right.
worry about me. The bill still got paid. And if you think about it, your family members kind of take for granted, oh, Karen's in the hospital, but nobody's stepping up to say, well, let me go pick up the kids or let me go do this. But if you assign them and you ask them in advance, then you have a team around you and you don't feel like a lone ranger.
Right.
So it's not necessarily about the emergency binder, is not necessarily about death. It's
Mhm.
about, okay, we are maintaining this chronic medical condition, and I
Mhm.
may be in and out and having these procedures, but we're going to live. We're rehabbing our life and we're
That's
trying to
it.
get these things going. But in the event that I do pass away, then it also has my will in there. It also has all of these different things. And
Right.
so it's just, a good thing to have to make sure you have your affairs in order. So, like you said, who should attend? Definitely anyone who is battling cancer. Definitely anyone who has a chronic medical condition like diabetes, like multiple sclerosis, like heart disease. Those
Mhm.
are typically my top conditions of women that I work with.
Mhm.
Um, and then I saw your other question, why is this workshop important?
Yeah.
One of the most important things that I learned from developing my own binder was that when you are able to have a sense of organization,
Mm.
you set the tone for how this thing is going to go.
Come on.
And you rest the minds of your children, and you
Mhm.
rest the minds of your family,
Mhm.
and you say, no, no, it's okay. You know, my team has got it. So those people that are circling around me, they pick up the ball. They came to the hospital the last time with my binder in hand. They were like, okay, who do we need to call? What do we need to do? And it went so smooth
Mhm.
because I set the tone.
That's good.
And, a lot of times, like I said, we allow fear to grip us, or we're just so unsettled in our spirit because we got a new diagnosis or something of that nature.
Mm.
I've been diagnosed with cancer 4 times now.
And she yet living. They gave
And I'm
her.
yet living.
They. I just want to put that out there. They done gave you sentences, and she's yet alive.
But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, Lord, let's keep it moving. So I keep my binder updated with the
Mhm.
latest information. I keep my team updated about what's going on with me, and just being able to have that sense of organization, to
Right.
have those things in order.
Mhm.
Nobody's in a panic stage.
Right.
Nobody's in fear. And that's nothing but the Lord. And
That's
I
it.
truly believe that he told me that 2024 was the year to tell people to get your affairs in order. And not
Listen.
necessarily just your money.
That's
We
it.
think about our money. And we are going to talk about some income protection type things at the
Mhm.
workshop because
Okay.
I had an AFLAC policy, and
Mhm.
AFLAC was like, oh, you got cancer? Here you go. And so that allowed me to not have to take off work, or if I did take off work, I didn't miss no money.
Mhm.
And so we're going to talk about those types of things because that's important, because you don't want to be a burden on other people. That's
Mhm.
why people don't want to tell you what's going on with them. Oh, I don't want to be a burden on them. You're not, especially if you have your affairs in order.
Mhm.
I've never had to call somebody and say, can I borrow some money to pay a bill? I've never had to
Mhm.
call somebody to say, I can't get my medication.
Mhm. Mhm.
I've never had to do those things because the Lord provided through these income protection programs. He provided through me having things organized and applying for different prescription assistance programs. There's all kinds of things that we can talk about. But
I'm
if
looking
you
forward to
won't,
that too.
yeah, but if you won't tell nobody what's going on with you, come on now. So you are the one who should attend the workshop. If you have something going on and you're like, oh, I don't want nobody to know my business, we just want to love on you. We're not trying to
That's
share your business. We're just trying to be able to help you get your affairs in order, get you a small team together,
good.
and work within that team
So, Karen,
and
I
allow
want to
those
ask
people
this
to know.
question. I
Mhm.
want to ask this question because you mentioned individuals who have certain ailments and who are suffering from chronic illnesses. And I'm wondering if this workshop will be beneficial for people who are family members of those who have been stricken with very severe chronic illnesses and didn't have this in order. Didn't
Most
have
definitely.
Okay, because I did invite someone. I said, I think this will be good because their parent didn't have it in order. And so now they became the caretaker of their parent and had to figure certain things out. And I believe that this will be a resource for that entire family and plus so many others who I've reached
Mhm.
out to personally to say, hey, this will be beneficial for you, whether you have a chronic illness or you have a family member who you are supporting as a caregiver. This could be something to help you get their affairs in order. Or I've worked with an agency and I actually talked about your workshop at this agency and said that this could be beneficial for aging adoptive parents who may not have their affairs in order for their adoptive family members. And so being able to
Right.
say, like, I'm getting up here in age and yet you're still a teenager and I'm still caring for you.
Right.
What will happen if I were to have a severe illness where I cannot care for you? Well, they will have this binder together and they will have this for their other family members to say, this is what I want to take place. So, not necessarily just for those who have illnesses, but maybe for family members. I was wondering too. So, you said yes for caregivers?
Oh, most definitely because yeah, most definitely because in addition to me dealing with cancer myself, I'm my mom's caretaker.
Wow.
Dementia just popped up out the blue. We did not have dementia running in the family. And so mom is the first person that I'm aware of
Wow.
that has a diagnosis of dementia. And so I'm her caretaker.
Hmm.
I established her binder immediately after I did mine because I have to schedule her appointments. I have to make sure her insurances are up to date when it's open enrollment and all of that. It made sense to be able to have all of those things in a binder. I have all of her credit card bills and I have all of her, documentation because she doesn't remember,
Hmm.
and so definitely as someone who is a caretaker of
Hmm.
someone, you need to make sure that their affairs are in order, especially if you were to get sick. Then, you
Right.
know, it's just vice versa. You really need to make sure everyone needs to have their
Hmm.
affairs in order. And I think that it's just a really good conversation to have because some people think, oh, I got my affairs in order. I have a will. I have my 401k. I have maybe, because a lot of people don't have an AFLAC plan, but I might have an AFLAC plan. But the
Hmm.
key thing about the workshop and the reason that it's in a workshop style is all of those things can be searched online. You can print down a will, you can print down medical power of attorney and all of that. The
Hmm.
real money for the workshop is the conversation
That's really good.
around who is your team?
Yep.
How are you wanting to be supported? Where
Right.
is this document going to be? How can I help you in this time of need? That is really the goal, is to
Hmm.
have that conversation
That's
so
good.
that way it breaks down the barrier, because I don't need to see your medical history documents. They could be in the file, but I need to know, if I'm going to be on your team, what is it that you need me to do? And am I capable and willing to do it? Because I might say, okay, I want my friend Tanya to do X, Y, and Z. Well, Tanya might be like, oh, no. I don't think I can do that. Well, then I can say, okay, well, what can you do? And it could be
Hmm.
something very small. And
Hmm.
those are the kind of conversations that we want to have. Like,
Hmm.
I'm going to put myself out there. My feet are always a little ashy, but my cousin Fawn be making sure my feet be right,
Listen,
And
she got
so
that
that's one of
Vaseline
the
for your
things,
toes.
that's one of the things when she comes up to the hospital to visit with me. She got some Vaseline, she got some fuzzy socks. I have another cousin that she will come up and just watch a movie with me.
That's awesome.
We just spending quality time. And
QT.
so it doesn't even have to be anything tangible, but your presence is there. But
Hmm.
who is that team? Who do you want around you? Now, for
Right.
those of you who may say, I don't want nobody to know my business,
Hmm.
I think we should pray for them, because
Hmm.
God did not put us on this earth to be alone,
That's right. No Lone
especially if we
Rangers.
are going through something.
Hmm.
Yeah, especially if we are going through something, we should not go through cancer in silence. We should not. Going through chemotherapy, going through radiation, and all of that, you should have somebody by your side, no matter what,
Hmm.
you know. And so I just would love that, I'm not going to hold you too long tonight. I don't know who else you have on the show or what else we're going to talk about.
Hmm.
But, just to be able to pray for those women who have a chronic medical condition and don't have a team.
Right.
You need to build you a team. Think about who those people can be. It could be a church member, it could
Yeah.
be a Facebook friend, it could be anybody that is willing to be a part of your walk. That's
That's
so
good.
important.
You know, Karen, when you mentioned that, something just dropped in my spirit. You know, when we consider a physical ailment of cancer and the chemotherapy that one has to go through and all the appointments that they have to have and the exhaustion. I saw a post recently that you were testifying of your hair loss and then seeing your beautiful lock
Yeah,
and how God recovered all. And so when we think about rehabbing your life from a physical standpoint, there is also a spiritual standpoint too, of where bitterness and things like a cancer that can eat up the soul and will cause people to be in such a state of arrest in their heart and in their soul, that God is saying in this season it's time to get your affairs even in your heart in order, so you're not, as Karen said, a lone
yeah,
ranger and you're out there with this bitterness and unforgiveness that is eating you alive and causing toxic waste to be on the inside of your spirit. And so being able to release and let that go by allowing yourself to get around loving, caring saints of the Most High God who ain't spreading your business around and ain't putting gloom and doom in your life, but are truly praying you through, encouraging you. And do know that they are encouraging you, not taking away
yeah,
your energy, but adding
yeah,
into you and reminding you you can love again, you can trust again, you can communicate effectively again, you can forgive, and you can be respected and show respect again, because those are the foundational core things of a relationship. And I believe that in this season that God is saying that we got to get our hearts in order, get our
yeah,
affairs of our souls in order, get the affairs of our life in order. I believe that
yeah,
so strongly, because the
yes,
enemy not
yes,
only wants to attack you physically with cancer, but spiritually with cancer, so that you are not well enough to do your affairs, meaning your purpose in life. So get your
hmm,
heart in order, get your
yeah,
affairs in order, and allow yourself to be engulfed in the presence of God and around God's people, so that you're not dealing with this alone. Sis, don't suffer in silence. Sis, SIS, suffering in silence. Do not suffer in silence. And I say this to the sirs, if there are any gentlemen or any people who can relate to this, sir, don't suffer in retaliation. Do not suffer in bitterness and retaliation. Be healed. And a part of being healing and operating from a healed place means that you got to get your affairs in order. Get around people who have rehabbed their life or who are rehabbing their life spiritually, mentally, and physically and financially. It's time. It is time. And Karen, are you still here with us, or are we having some difficulty with your all right, we're going to have Karen come back on very shortly here just to close us out. But I want to thank you for joining us on today in this month of February for the Supernatural Weight Release Group. We have been talking about not only getting your affairs in order, truly getting your heart in order, because this is the heart check month. This is a month where you can really take a moment and turn your heart over to the Lord and ask the Lord to penetrate in your heart and to reveal to you if there's anything in your heart that needs to go, so that you are elevated into a higher place in healing and walking in your purpose, and you are truly releasing the weights so that you can walk freely into your purpose. And so I want to draw your attention to your heart right now and ask yourself these heart check questions. Where is my love? Am I loving and connecting with other people, or isolating myself? And have I released bitterness, or am I still bitter, and everything that comes out of my mouth is nothing but negativity? Have I forgiven? Have I released and let go the pains and the suffering that I experienced because of betrayal, or people who betrayed our trust, or issues that happen in our tissues? And where is our obedience? Am I being obedient to do what God has told me to do in this season? Or is my heart hardened towards that obedience? So I want you to know that Jesus Christ has come to set the captives free. And I am decreeing and declaring that you are going to be free indeed. And I am encouraging you to return to the Lord such a way, in a way of submission or surrender, so that your heart is not entangled by these things that's causing you to have cancer spiritually in your soul, and causing you to not be able to love freely like you ought to. And so, as our lovely guest has come back on, I am so grateful and thankful as we're closing out, to say thank you, Karen, for your testimony. Thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
for your willingness to continue to help us get our affairs in order by being honest about what you've gone through and what you needed, and just practically helping people to just demonstrate love for one another in tough seasons. In tough
Yeah,
seasons. So as we're,
definitely. Thank you so much.
what was that again? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
No, I was saying thank you so much. Just having me on and allowing me to be able to share my testimony, one, and then also share information about the workshop. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And I just want to make sure that we're taking a moment to say hello to Karma, who's out there. She said this was good, and she appreciates, I'm sure, what you have been sharing. And she also mentioned too that some things have been said here. One of the Facebook users, we can't see your name unless you allow us to do so, but they said this is so smart and wise. So getting your stuff in order is wise to do, right? And we want to operate in wisdom. And so as we're closing on this evening, I want you to remind us, where can we go and get registered on March the 16th? It's a Saturday for this workshop from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock at 841 West Main Street, Suite 2B in Peoria, Illinois. For only $35
Yeah,
to get your affairs in order and to connect
yeah.
and be in rich conversations with Karen Malone and some others. Tell us, Karen, where can we go to register?
Well, we've definitely been doing our postings on Facebook, and there's a link for the registration. You can also go to my website, which is rehabyourlife.org. Real simple. It's only $35. You will get the materials for your binder, all of the tabs, and we're also going to have is hosting us. And so we just want you guys to come out. $35 is not a lot to be able to get your affairs in order.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Karen. I'm looking forward to inviting more people to come out to get their affairs in order, to rehab their life. We will be posting the information about Rehab Your Life on the emergency binder workshop, as well as other events that will be coming along too later on in the mid of this year. So in August, I believe it is, we will be posting about that as well. But as of now, it's an emergency, people. This is an
Yeah,
emergency to get your
yeah,
affairs in order. This is like a clarion call for you to get your affairs in order, practically, naturally, and spiritually. Get your affairs in order. And we have an amazing leader, Karen Malone from www.rehabyourlife.org. You can register there for $35 for the emergency binder that has tabs, good connections, and different ways so that you can not only help yourself, but also help your family as well. So I'm looking
yeah.
forward to more collaborations with you, as well as so many others in the community. Thank you, Karen, and God bless you,
Thank
and
you.
good night.
Good
Mwah.
night. Thank you.
You're so welcome. God bless you all. And I will be posting some information on Supernatural Weight Release, as well as the businesses page, Genesis Hall LCSW Therapeutic Services page, about this service, about this workshop, because I do believe that it is so important that we get our natural as well as our spiritual life in order. And I believe the binder is such an amazing way to do so. As Karen was speaking about the emergency binder, we have created our own binder for the Supernatural Weight Release group. Personally, I have my own binder, and I was talking to a couple of my accountability partners about that, and we'll find out, Karma, if we can pay in person. We'll go ahead and make sure that we ask Karen about that, if it can be paid in person. Thank you for asking that question. But as I was talking about this binder that we have, we're talking about our goals. I will be posting our SMART goals so that we can start working towards our midterm kind of end of the quarter to make sure that we're staying on target with our goals. And so I will be posting that on Supernatural Weight Release Group. And if you're not a part of that and you are watching this from someone's personal page and you want to join us for the Supernatural Weight Release Group so that you are walking out your purpose by releasing these weights and also doing so from a supernatural place, that means that we're not doing it in and of our own power and strength, but we're guided as a community by the Spirit of God to fulfill our life on purpose and in purpose and in His will. And we're doing that together. I'm so serious about collaborating. I need help, y'all. I can't do this on my own. And I believe you are in the same boat. We would not be human beings that are on this earth if we didn't need one another. God created us to connect. And I want to connect with you with some amazing resources. So if you're not a part of the Supernatural Weight Release Group, go ahead and join us. Go to the page. You can look it up, Supernatural Weight Release Group. You can come to my personal page, Genesis A. Hall, and you can connect with me, send information to me on Messenger so we can get you connected. I will be posting some information on goals and vision and seeing where everyone is at, because we have our quarter of this year is up next month, y'all. Next month. So let's get together and get our binders and get our lives, our goals together and connect to see where we are. And I hope to see you at the emergency binder workshop for Rehab Your Life. And if you have any more questions, do send me information on Messenger. God bless you all and have a good night. And thank you for joining us.